Hey guys, it's Bobby Roast Beef, your favorite host for speed quizzing smartphone trivia. It's been a hot minute since we've done one of these shows. What do you say we go ahead? We'll kick it off right after this.
10, 5,
Folks, welcome back to the 10-second podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Roast Beef. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a speed quizzing host based here in Western Massachusetts. And before we get too far into the show, I don't know that we've ever, even in a previous episode, talked about this, but what is speed quizzing? What is this all about? Well, if you're one of those folks that loves to go to a bar or restaurant on a weeknight and play some trivia up against some other competitors, well, speed quizzing is for you. In fact, it's so much for you, you could bring all of your friends, and you should, because there's a little something for everybody involved. Speed quizzing is unique because it is not a pen and paper trivia type game. It's much faster. It's far more engaging. And I really do hate to use the term trivia night when I describe it to somebody, because it's more like an actual live action game show right in your favorite bar or restaurant. So essentially, the way that it works is that a host of speed quizzing will approach a bar or restaurant and set up a residency event, pop in and do their game. The players will attend the game, download the speed quizzing app for free from their app store, depending on the device they're using, Apple or Android. They'll download the speed quizzing app. They'll then connect to the Wi-Fi network that is provided. It's typically called Quiz. In my situation, we call it Quiz. So they'll connect to the game Wi-Fi network. Once they're connected, they'll log in with a team name. There's a couple of other options that they can do as well. They'll select a buzzer sound, for instance. In fact, now you can set up a team photo if you'd like. Take one from your camera roll or just use your camera and set that up. It's very, very engaging. And basically, that app is how you will interact with the gameplay as we go through. So you'll answer questions via keypads, multiple keypads. You'll buzz in and give verbal answers. You'll use that same buzzer to agree or disagree, depending on the type of buzz-in style round that we have. And your points will be calculated in real time. You'll even earn extra points for having the fastest correct answers in some situations. So it's really exciting and really, really fun. And a lot of folks just really prefer it to your typical slow bar trivia style. It's a lot of fun. Let's take advantage of this technology that we've got. We're all carrying around in our pockets these days. We utilize it to have a good time. The other thing about speed quizzing that makes it really unique is that it makes it much, much, much more difficult to cheat at your trivia game. Yeah, it's one of those dark secrets that some folks just don't want to talk about. But the reality of it is that some folks they gotta try and beat the system. Well, with speed quizzing, it's a little bit more obvious when somebody's trying. So hosts are much more able to detect it right away and then call somebody out and make whatever adjustments they need to. So we have a fun time doing it. I have been hosting speed quizzing for over 10 years now in the Western Massachusetts area, but I've done games all over the country. I've been all over the place, and I've hosted games for all types of different situations, be it trade shows to private events to weddings or, corporate events, you name it, all kinds of stuff I've done speed quizzing for. And it is a blast. It's my full-time career, and I love it. Very, very happy doing it. So, some of you that may be listening to the show maybe have listened to the show previously with previous episodes of the 10-second podcast, and you're wondering where the show has been. Well, it's been over a year since I've dropped an episode for this. In fact, some things have changed. We're now using a brand new version of speed quizzing that folks absolutely love. There's a lot of great features that are there that you can use, and it's the response has been really, really great. The last episode we talked, there was an upgrade to the router that I had been using for folks to connect to, making life a little bit easier for some folks and kind of enriching the experience for the player, which I'm all about. I'm all about getting people to have the best experience possible. In this episode, we're going to talk about some pro tips that you can exercise to make your speed quizzing experience the best. Trust me, these are simple things that anybody can do. But believe me, after a situation I had last night where a team ran up to me in the third round and said, "Oh, I can't connect," I explained to them a couple of things real quick, and then boom, they were off and running. We'll give you some pro tips to kind of make your experience the best it possibly can be. We're getting back into the swing of things with the 10-second podcast. That's the goal right here. I'm all about trying to expand a little bit and build on the regular sort of social media that I've been putting out there regarding the quizzes that I do, the events that I have, the private bookings and things like that come along with all this. And I'm using it as a platform to kind of engage you guys a little bit further, give you something to listen to, and now hopefully something to watch as well, because I'm going to be putting this podcast on YouTube. I'm going to also try to utilize Spotify's video podcast platform. So we'll see how that works. Lots of stuff coming up with the show. The show is going to be adapting and growing. Initially, we started out as a way to kind of communicate to hosts some issues that, maybe some hosts were struggling with or something, to try to give them the best experience. And in reality, that worked out great to a point, but I found that I was kind of using the show as a lot of ways to engage with my regular followers for trivia, which was fantastic. This is going to see a little bit more in both directions, to be perfectly honest. On the host side of things, we are going to be here to kind of help and kind of pull the curtain to the side as far as how speed quizzing works from the host perspective, but also our goal is to make this show fun and exciting so that folks want to come out and play this game as much as possible. So we're trying to let folks know, or at least be aware of the kind of weeknight fun that they could be having in their communities. On top of that, one of the new things specifically regarding the regulars that I have play trivia with me routinely is I'm going to be featuring some heads up, sort of grudge match competitions. So these matches will be set up where we'll do an online game with a couple of different groups of people that will play as a team, and we'll average out their scores. We'll just do a real simple heads up, kind of like 10 to 20 questions per round, something like that. Super easy. And it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'm hoping it'll be entertaining for you folks to watch that are checking out the podcast, because you can also play along and answer those questions and see how you did as well. But on top of that, I want to engage my regular players a bit more, because some of these personalities are absolutely amazing. And I have one already on the schedule for later this month, happening in only a week or two. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm excited about that. So we'll have one for you guys that you'll be able to check out here. I do believe that the one of the teams had suggested they wanted to do this with no camera, so audio only. So that will be interesting. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to make that work, but this could be pretty good. Those are the main goals right there. We're going to be adding that new element for play and just for added fun. But we're also going to be building further into host and sort of player support, so that we kind of give everybody a little bit of something. If you like to play speed quizzing, you're going to want to subscribe to this show, is really what you're going to want to do. If you're a host of speed quizzing, you're going to be learning some stuff too. And we're going to feature some other hosts along the way. So if maybe we'll do some heads up host versus host trivia. These are the guys and gals that are out there, and there's this sort of assumption that people make that as a host, we seem to have great command of all of this random knowledge. And the secret is we don't. That's the truth. We just don't. That's just the way it is. Let's talk about one other thing that's actually going to be huge for speed quizzing locally in Western Massachusetts for the games that I host. So, like I said, I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I am working on a way to do in a neutral sort of venue, a little bit of a battle between the two different counties that I primarily work in, Hampshire County and Hampden County. And what we're going to do is it'll be, probably a monthly game that will show up where there will be tickets that need to be purchased. And you'll select which side of, if you want to be playing for Hampshire County or Hampden County. I have a feeling that the vast majority of folks will kind of choose the side where they play normally. That would make the most sense. But we do have some players who bounce from spot to spot and here and there. And we're going to take an average of those teams that play, and we're going to find out which county can dominate each year. And we're going to be awarding trophies and plaques that will be displayed in I'm going to choose the busiest location where I am in the winning county to display that trophy or plaque. It's going to depend on the venue, if they've got the space to put like a giant gaudy trophy, which is, to be honest, that's what I want to do. But I don't know if the room is going to work. But a plaque, if nothing else, they can hang it up there and kind of have some bragging rights or anything. But what's cool is that by doing this in a neutral spot, I want to have all of my accounts, all of my establishments, plus a ton of other local businesses, put some gift cards in these random gift card packs that will be awarded. And I think instead of traditionally how I do the top 3 teams, I'd like to do the top 5 teams because I'm expecting these to be huge events. The plan is that they will be happening on a Friday. We'll probably do one of them a month. And these will be held at a local venue that I am not currently I currently have no ties to whatsoever. So it's a little bit more of a neutral spot. And the spot that I chose is kind of centrally located. It's not straddling the line of those two counties, but it's far enough up where it's close to. So this should be really great. And I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of you folks are looking forward to. I've been speaking with a lot of the players that have been playing for a long time or play really often because, oddly enough, there are teams that do follow me around for 2, 3, sometimes even 4 games in a week. And, that's great because every single game that I do is brand new for that day. So I encourage that kind of stuff and I absolutely appreciate it. So thank you very much. If you're one of those teams that comes out and makes it a regular sort of occurrence for you to join me at trivia, I appreciate that. Believe me, it does not go unnoticed. So, some of those folks, they also could choose what side they want to, play for on this little county versus county game of averages. This should be pretty exciting. One of the things I do want to talk about here is a lot of folks ask me, they're like, oh, Bobby, do you do, private events? I hear this one a lot. Could we have trivia at my barbecue? Or could we have trivia at my insert your event title here, whatever it might be? And the simple answer is absolutely. You can absolutely have me do trivia at your event. I would love that. I do obviously have a lot of scheduling, going on with residency work. Currently, right now, I'm working Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday evenings. Mondays, I actually just dropped because I needed to have some sort of a break in there. And it's been working out really, really good. But I will be picking up a Monday, I'm sure, eventually. So, we're talking Sunday, which Sunday right now, on alternating weeks, it's either one game at night or we do a brunch on alternating Sundays. So it's kind of been nuts. So that's a lot of games. It's a lot of questions. It's a lot of your friendly faces I get to see. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you are interested in booking Bobby Roast Beef to host speed quizzing or to DJ your event, or if you're having a wedding and you need a wedding officiant, I do all of these things. You can check my availability. Just go to bobbyroastbeef.com. Right at the top of the page there is a check my availability spot where you can enter in your date, and it'll tell you right away if I'm available or not. So check that out. I'll follow up. We'll offer, we'll talk, some options as far as what we can include, what you sort of see for your vision for your event. If you want to do some custom content, because I do that stuff as well. And we'll go ahead and make your event great. That's kind of what I want to be doing here for you guys. Now, let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit here. I want to do one thing and make this thing a regular sort of occurrence on the 10-second podcast, and that is the week in review of hosting. These are interesting little tidbits and notes from the last week, and just little things that kind of stuck out to me. So I'm going to be doing my part to try to get the history or actually after I finish up a game, sort of document and jot down a few notes of things to talk about. But I've just gone back over the last week of some things that were pretty interesting that I think were something you might want to know about. So let's talk about last Friday. I'm recording this currently on a Friday before I go and do my event at Casa de Lisa. Now, Casa de Lisa is a great little restaurant. It's in the Feeding Hills section of Agawam, and it's fantastic. Italian food, seafood, all kinds of great stuff. There is two separate rooms in there, and primarily we can be found in the bistro room. And the bistro room is a room that was primarily used for private events, but Lisa over at Casa de Lisa has sort of shifted gears a little bit and just made it more of like a casual type lounge. And to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't do a Friday speed quizzing event at just any sort of place. Like it really, when the idea crossed my mind, it was I've got to find the right spot where it makes sense, and it makes sense here. So I'd like to tell folks that think of the bistro room as if like you had a good friend that had a basement bar, but they put a little bit of money into it. Like it's a nice sort of place. And the menu is out of this world. So Friday nights have been great. But this last Friday, there was, I want to say it was a retirement party or some sort of other private event that was in that space. And they hadn't finished up by the time trivia was about to start. So as I was on my way there, I got a text from Lisa and she said, we're going to move you into the main bar in the main restaurant. And I said, sounds good to me. That we've done this a bunch before. It is a little bit cozier in there. And from some of our teams, specifically Babito 2016, that's one of the teams that regularly plays at Casa de Lisa. They apparently like it a little bit more because it's such a smaller space. It's a little bit warmer in there generally. And I think that Lisa likes it because she is able to, I think, shut the heat off and just let the amount of people that cram into that space just heat the place naturally. So we had a great time. And so we're in the main bar. I had a little bit of fun with some of the team photos on the speed quizzing app. Now, one of the newer features is a team can log in and create a team photo. So every time that they, get a speed bonus, for instance, or if they buzz in and they get an answer correct, their picture will show up on all the other players' devices or the live screen if we're using one. And for some reason or another on this specific night, there weren't very many folks choosing their own pictures. So I have the ability as a host to be able to go to a team and assign pictures right from my phone, from my camera roll, or I could take pictures and make adjustments automatically through the app that I use to host the game. So I go through, and there's one team, Clorox Bleach, that has been playing off and on for years with me over at this one venue. And Clorox Bleach, great group. They have a ton of personality. Specifically, I would say if there was a captain of this team, that captain is Katie. She's got a lot of personality. So I make no secrets. I have two dogs, two Boston Terriers, and one of them is just like the most adorable yet derpiest dog you've ever seen in your life, and her name is Eleanor. So I made their buzzer Eleanor, and then my other Boston, there was another team that I made their picture, my other dog Hudson. There's a team that plays at a handful of different venues, but they call themselves lately Alan the Hot Doggy Lobster. And I made their logo, a logo of what I would say is probably the best brand of hot dogs on the planet, Bright Leaf. They're based in North Carolina, and their hot dogs are out of this world. So at first they were like, what the hell is that? When they got a speed bonus and saw it for themselves, I was like, trust me, it's a hot dog brand. It's the best ever. So Bright Leaf, I'll send you my address, and you can send me a big old cooler of Red Hots and smoked sausages and all that good stuff, because I'll tell you, this stuff's out of this world. So, we had a great time on Friday. It was a blast. I was off on. I'm sorry. No. I forgot about Sunday. Sunday night, I was over at the Delaney House. Now, Saturday night, I was over at the Delaney House DJing an event, a corporate event for Munson Savings Bank. So it was kind of nice because I was right back in the same spot the next day in the main restaurant, in the bar, in the lounge area. And we had a great game over there. It was pretty busy over there on a Sunday night. It was great. And we had a couple of teams that popped in. And specifically what stuck out to me with this one was one of our regulars that pops in at a variety of venues, but had popped in on Sunday, is a player that goes under the name That Insurance Chick. And That Insurance Chick managed to get a fast track at in the third round. I'm not sure if it was on the final question. There's 4 opportunities in the last round to be able to steal a fast track, which means the team gets to steal first place. First off, it's got to be on questions number 5, 10, 15, or the final question 20, or it I should say, and instead, the top 3 teams have to fail to answer correctly. And I forget if it was on the last question, but it was either that or it was question 15. And she ended up winning it, which is awesome because I can't remember the last time that insurance chick has taken a first place win, but she was delighted. It was really good. I love a good upset like that, and on a Sunday night, that was a really, really good game. And we have a lot of new teams that play on Sundays, which I'm all about it. I love it. I love it when new teams come in and, they go up against some of these teams that have been playing for a little bit. And they, if nothing else, they have a good, firm understanding of the mechanics of the game. But we had such a great time. It was a lot of fun. And then that brings us to Tuesday. My next game was Tuesday. And this one was interesting. So the one thing that sticks out about Tuesday to me was I'll be honest with you guys. I hear a lot of dumb answers. Things where I'm just like, really? Really? I did a picture question in the buzz-in round. And, I cut like new teams a little bit of slack when they buzz in accidentally. It happens. You know what I mean? It happens. So I sent this picture to everybody's device on one question. Okay, that picture right there. And that is a picture of the Dallas Mavericks NBA basketball logo right there. That's what that is. The Dallas Mavericks. I had asked, the question was which NBA team, and then this team randomly buzzed in. And the way I generally work these games is if somebody buzzes in mid-question, I can't go any further with the question. I'll repeat up until where they cut me off, and that's it. So you should also know that the picture disappears from that player's screen once they buzz in. And I hear every excuse in the book, every single one. Oh, I never got the picture. I don't know what's going on. Some must be broken. It doesn't work that way. You definitely got the picture because if you didn't, it wouldn't let you buzz in. So I hear all kinds of stuff, and they're just like, I look at them dead in the face, and they're like, I don't even know. And I told them, I said, I can repeat the part of the question that I wrote, which NBA team? And I'm like, it's an NBA team. Ladies and gentlemen, listening to the 10-second podcast, these individuals looked at me and went, the Boston Celtics? And, I mean, thank goodness, nobody, not a single soul agreed with that. And they did lose some points. It was, I think, a little bit of a blow to their ego because I think they might have been talking a little bit of smack earlier on. And it was interesting. Needless to say, they didn't finish very far. And they had a team name specifically that kind of got under my skin. It's sort of a pet peeve when people do this with their team names. But we'll cover that in another show. Well, if you guys ask for it in the comments, we'll cover that in another show. What are the team names that really get Bobby Roast Beef's goat? We'll talk about that in another show. But it was pretty interesting just to see the way that they were, calculating this. I mean, I'll give them credit. It was an NBA team. It's not that they looked at me and were like the New York Jets or something. You know what I mean? Like, at least it was an NBA team. So that was kind of hilarious. That sort of like stole it for me. We move into Wednesday, and Wednesday was great, man. Wednesday, I'm over at Nathan Bill's in Springfield. Nathan Bill's is hands down one of the best bars in Springfield. Maybe even one of the best bars in the western part of the state, to be perfectly honest. The level of family that's over there is out of this world. It's a fun spot. And part of the reason why I like it is I draw a good amount of people. And Nathan Bill's is one of those nights where it is just jam-packed regularly, almost every single night. Those are those games where we get like over 30 teams that will show up. That's the night. And they've got the facilities to be able to handle it. They've got available parking for everybody, and they've got plenty of seating in the establishment. It's great. But they just launched a new winter cocktail menu. And, I go in, and Sam is a staple bartender in there. She's been in there for a handful of years now, working Tuesdays with me. And I said to her, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to drink tonight. Now, I don't drink at every single one of my events, but I can be swayed. I can be swayed. And she suggests, she goes, we have this brand new winter cocktail menu, and I have to practice some of these, so go for it. So I was looking at the menu real quick as I was getting set up, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try this Snowman Mojito. Wow. Wow. Delicious. Fantastic. I like a mojito just like anybody else would. This is garnished with a little bit of mint and fresh cranberry, and it was absolutely out of this world. And then there was another team that had ordered what was it, a peppermint espresso martini, and she gave me like a little sample of that when she was making it, because there's a little left in the shaker. That's out of this world. A little bit sweet, but that's what you're looking for when you're ordering something like that. It was really, really, really fantastic. And I'm a big coffee guy too. So like any cocktails that are made with espresso, sign me up. But we had ourselves a really, really, really good time there. It was a rainy night that night too. We got like over 2 inches of rain, I think, that day. It was a little stupid, to tell you the truth. And while I was setting up, I came in and there was only, I think, maybe 1 or 2 tables that were in there, and the employees. And they're like, I have a feeling it's going to be dead tonight with this weather and everything. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be busy at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we did 24, 25 teams that night. And I always get nervous when the staff is just like, I don't know, I don't think it's going to be very, very busy. But then I feel great when the regulars show up, and we had an awesome game. We had some teams that I hadn't seen in a while had popped in there, which is always cool. One of our teams was called Mike's on a Plane, and they played their asses off, like absolutely genuinely played their asses off. And I'm very excited, that they did so damn well. And in fact, I even joked, I was like, I think you guys are doing so well, you need to change your name to Mike. Just don't bother, stay where you are, Mike, because they did great. Let's talk about Thursday. This was last night's game. Now, this was fun. Like I mentioned before, teams with their team photo, and me being able to, having the ability to change it. Now, my event on Thursdays and brunch on Sundays, I should say, is at the Toasted Owl Tavern in Northampton, Massachusetts. It's my only venue that's in Hampshire County, but this bar, more nights than not, is packed. Like I would say 95% of all the seats are taken up the vast majority of the time that we're there. And this was not unlike that at all. And we had a handful of teams that kind of came in pretty hot right off the rip. And I had made a joke. There's a team that plays there and on Sundays periodically, and they're called the Horny Leprechauns. It's a group of guys. They've been playing with me for a number of years, and they have a variety of different friends that will come and join them, but generally there's a crew of like 2 or 3 guys that come in and play regularly. Well, Horny Leprechauns come in, and they are serious about trivia. Like they are serious, and they're a team to beat. Like I got to give credit to these dudes. They are very, very clever. They have a good, fast command of random general knowledge, and they're very, very excited about when they get a speed bonus or something like that. Now, like I said, the team photos, you will see on screen when a team gets a speed bonus or buzzes in or something like that. Well, this team, the Horny Leprechauns, for whatever reason, didn't enter a team photo. In fact, they have a handful that they'll use. For some odd reason, sometimes they use a picture of Jennifer Aniston. And then other times they actually have a Horny Leprechauns logo that they had another team make for them. And then there's a picture of Lucky from Lucky Charms that they'll use on occasion. Horny Leprechauns, you guys get it. You get it. Anyway, I saw that they didn't have a team photo. And earlier, while I was mentioning the teams and kind of hyping up people, I very loosely, on some nights, I'll try to get people a little bit fired up by talking up some of these teams. And I said something about the Horny Leprechauns being, I believe the phrase that I used was, they have a vast amount of random knowledge floating around in their minds, a hefty tolerance to gas station boner pills, And I forget what the third thing was, something like that. But for some reason, just the phrase gas station boner pills got a good laugh. And I decided that I was going to continue going with it. Well, I did so. And I had changed their team name to, it's a t-shirt of, I don't know if you've maybe ever seen before, like the I'm proud of my veteran, and there's a veteran patch that's on there. Well, this was same idea. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna try and get the image now, and show it to you guys. You know what? I have it on my phone. I'm just gonna hold it up to the camera because you got to see this. And the shirt reads, "Gas station boner pill veteran." So I made it their buzzer, or not their buzzer sound. I made it their team photo. And it was a little bit ridiculous. It was a little bit ridiculous. Like, I don't think it landed with them right away. They had fun with it, though, eventually, and it got a good laugh. But we had ourselves a really good time on Thursday night. It was really close at the end, like really close. We had 3 teams that were kind of in the running, and actually going into the third round, there was a lot of potential on the board that somebody could have gotten in there and done some work. But it was a tricky kind of round. The Horny Leprechauns had done really well, but we also had Richard Fitz, who had gotten a fast track early in the game, and they maintained that top 3 spot through the entirety of the game. They never moved. And then another team who is really clever, and again, another one that's one to beat, is Patty Pastrami. Patty Pastrami had a birthday bonus that they started with, and that had them in that top 3, but they were able to hang with no issues, even with Richard Fitz getting that speed, or that fast track to first place. And hanging there, like it was this rotating door of who's in the top 3, but it was 3 or 4 teams. And we got to this one point at the end of the game where the third place spot was untouchable. The final bonus question wasn't going to be enough to put somebody in third place. However, there was one team that they could have tied, which would have meant I'd have to bust out some kind of a tiebreaker to figure out who's going to take that third place prize. So the Horny Leprechauns, it was ridiculous close. They ended up getting the win. They are, I'm sure, delighted that they got the win. They take trivia very, very seriously, and I appreciate that about them. There was definitely some, and it was close too. I forget the nearest wins question. Like, the correct answer, we'll say it was 30. And I would say probably if we had 16 teams, like 10 of them put an answer in the 30s. The winning answer was 31, and it was just that close. So it was a little bit crazy, but like, what an amazing night. I love my Thursday night games, and I love my Friday night games as well. So we'll have a game tonight, and then I've got another game on Sunday. We just the train keeps going. Trivia all week long, and that's the beauty about the way I do my games. I use general knowledge stuff that I purchase every single day is a brand new game. So you guys go ahead and join in on any game, and you're not going to see anything cross over. It's a fresh game. So if you like doing this, follow me around. Every game is brand new. If you'd like to mix it up, there you go. And I will say there is a little bit of an advantage, to be perfectly honest, with the teams that do follow me regularly. Sometimes we end up on a little bit of a run on categories. So you might see some questions about a specific line of movie or a genre or something like that. And if it's in your wheelhouse, you can utilize that information, like, from a previous game to sort of assist you. So if there is, and when I say there might be, I'm talking about 2, maybe 3 questions. It's not enough where it's going to skew the game in any one way, but I'm just saying it's one of those things where it does pay off at least a little bit to be following me around. So that's the last 7 days for me hosting Speed Quizzing Smartphone Trivia. We're going to go ahead. We'll come right back, and we're going to talk about pro tips for speed quizzing. How can you get the most out of your game? Let's go ahead and talk about it. We'll see you right after this. All Alrighty, guys, let's talk pro tips. Now, there's a couple things that folks can do to make sure that they're getting the best speed quizzing experience possible. And number one, make sure that you're on the most up-to-date version of the speed quizzing app. I see this all the time where folks will just not update the app, and maybe there were some changes and there's a glitch in between the two. These apps are designed to follow the updates with the software. So in the case of like the newest host software I'm using, if you have an old app, there's actually a brand new type of round that you wouldn't be able to play, and that's the multi-tap round. So before the game starts, I oftentimes recommend to people, if you're not sure if it's the most up-to-date app or it's been a little while since you've played, go to your app store, open it up, and see what it says. And I can verify this, at least for Apple users, sometimes you'll see it in the list when you search for speed quizzing, and it'll just say open. If you actually tap the app to go to the full page with all the details, it'll then tell you to update. So it's just one of those things. Having the most current up-to-date app is going to improve your speed quizzing experience overall. You're definitely less likely to run into any kind of speed bumps or anything else. Now, the other thing is this. Close all the other working apps that are on your phone. So if you've got, I saw this just in the car today with my daughter. I was bringing her to school, and we pulled up, and she was closing all of these apps like rapidly on her phone, like just closing everything. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? What is going on with you where you need to be closing that many? How many processes do you have running on that device? And that's what it gets down to. By having these things run, even in the background, they can take some resources from your device as far as being able to react quickly, or even in some cases, stay connected. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about has to do with each phone is a little bit different. When it comes to Android phones, you oftentimes will be lucky enough where you'll have to make this change before we get started in the game. Most of the time. And what I'm talking about is your mobile data. So with Android phones, lots of those built-in native apps are looking for a network connection at all times, and they're going to alert you to it. And with Android, they'll alert you at the point of connecting to that Wi-Fi network. Now, the Wi-Fi network that we use, a lot of people, the second I say Wi-Fi, they think it's internet. Like, oh, this is on the internet. No, it's not. That's a different network. Wi-Fi is just the wireless connectivity, one device to another. That's really what it gets down to. Now, with an Android phone, and when you go and you connect to a network that has no internet on it, like the quiz network, because there's no internet there, it is strictly just for the game. So when you connect to that with an Android, if you wait 3 seconds, it will pop up a dialog box most of the time saying to you, there's no internet here, help, what do I do? Something to that level, something to that gist. And all you've got to do is select the option that says connect or stay connected or connect anyway or whatever the option is to allow you to connect. It's right there. Lots of folks don't make it past this. They just tap stuff immediately, which is nuts. When if you run into this situation and you're not able to connect, you're getting an error saying that, you're not able to connect, or there's an issue on the speed quizzing app, what you can do is just shut your mobile data off. Lots of times that will help you get connected. So shut that mobile data off. Just drag your menu all the way down. Look where it says, it'll say mobile data, and tap that off. Another cheap and easy way to do it is to put your phone in airplane mode. Doing that is going to eliminate all the connections to all the networks, but then you can go back to your Wi-Fi and connect to your Wi-Fi network, and you'll be good to go. So let's move on to Apple. So for Apple users, there's a couple of things that can happen. If you connect to the network and you are mid-game, similar situation will happen, but you'll get a pop-up on screen that will say something to the effect of, no internet here, keep trying Wi-Fi or use cellular data. And it's a little bit counterintuitive here, but you want to select use cellular data. If you keep trying Wi-Fi, that means that like your weather app is looking for an update, not the speed quizzing app. So it's a little bit confusing. So I recommend for folks, lots of times, put your phone in airplane mode. That's the pro tip. Put your phone in airplane mode. When I host the game, I take the mobile data and shut it off on my phone so that this way I've got a good solid connection and I'm not going to see any kind of dropouts or glitches or anything like that. Glitches can happen. They can absolutely happen. Things happen, but on occasion, when I've been booted off, when I have my mobile data off, I'm able to easily just reconnect and get connected. And that brings us to tip number 3. Okay. When it comes to getting disconnected, consider the situation. Last night was a perfect example. I had a room of like 15, 16 teams, devices connected all at one time. And I had 2 teams that were far back on the back side of the bar, the entire opposite end of the room where I was. And typically, I've never had a situation where my router isn't able to reach that far. It's not that far away. So I don't think it was necessarily that. I think there might have just been some local interference or something that booted them off. And I could see that they were trying to get reconnected. And one of the guys comes up to me with his phone and this is like mid-question. He's like, Hey man, I can't get connected. It just kicked me and them. It kicked us off. What are we going to do? And I was like, just hit. I think I actually said this on the mic, to tell you the truth, unintentionally. I was like, just hit connect. And then he's like, see, it did it again. And then I was like, do it again. And he did it and it connected him with no problem. I was like, sometimes you just got to go and try again. You know what I mean? That's all it is. And it's this big blue dialog box that shows up when you're connected to my style of router. And it basically is just saying, oh, we don't know where the network is. I've had it happen on my phone at the beginning of the game when I'm trying to connect. And I'm like, and I say the tip is this. If other people are playing and they're connected and there's not an issue, the issue isn't at my end. That's the pro tip. The issue is at your device's end. And then I'll give you a little bonus pro tip right here. A lot of people don't think about this. Restart your phone before the game starts. Go ahead and restart your phone because that will clear a lot of those caches from memory. And sometimes that can gunk things up because it's got some sort of a process in there or something that's just kind of like chilling from another auxiliary app, maybe an app that's open. Restarting your phone gives you a nice, fresh, clean slate to start from. And that is what I think tip number 4, 5. I don't know. There's a bunch in there. But I would say, follow those rules for, trying to make your experience a little bit better. If you're a team that's playing on a tablet, now, one of the things that speed quizzing does that is very interesting is if you're playing on a tablet, it automatically will detect your screen size. And the bottom left-hand corner, there's a small heartbeat icon. If you tap that, you'll see the bonus features, the team photo feature, the selecting a team color feature, the privacy feature. There's a privacy feature where you can change the I believe it's the degree of like angle that people can see your screen. I haven't figured out how it works, but there's a privacy feature that's on there. There is one that allows you to use, if you have a large enough screen, it allows you to use your device in landscape mode. And it basically gives you like your own little personal live screen off to the side. And I highly recommend, if you're using a tablet of any kind, I would recommend using that. Give that a shot because sometimes it makes the gameplay a little bit more exciting because you've got, a buzzer button, but your keypad is exposed, or what am I saying? You'll have the live screen. So you'll have at your table the question displayed right there in full. Sometimes with the picture, it's just one of those things where, if nothing else, you should play with it to see if you like that orientation versus the standard portrait. And again, that is only on tablets. One last thing I want to mention. One of the last things I want to talk about has to do with Apple users. I see this happen all the time, and it's a little bit of a tip. When you download, or in some cases, even when you update your app, there are situations where you will see a pop-up come up and it's asking for permissions for something. You need to accept all of those. And I see this all the time, probably about a 50-50 shot with a new team if they're going to come over to me after they've downloaded the app and they're like, I can't get it to work. that big blue pop-up that says that there's no internet or there's no network or something that I mentioned earlier, that will pop up for this other situation. A team that sees these pop-ups and is like, no, I'm not going to allow permissions to this or whatever. What you're denying is essentially the device's ability to say to the Apple device, hey, look, I need to connect to a network that doesn't have the internet, a local network connection. And if you don't allow that permission, you have to go through settings to go and do it. So I'm going to give you the chain of how does it work. So you go to your settings page, you scroll down to privacy and security. Okay, tap privacy and security. It'll bring you to a list of apps or a list of other items. You want to go to the one that's called local network. Once you're on local network, you tap that and it will give you a list of apps. You want to find speed quizzing and then just toggle the switch so that it's on. Sometimes I've seen people go and it'll be on already. Just toggle it off, turn it back on, do it a couple of times, and then go back, and you should be good to go. But that's what it is. What that pop-up is doing when it's asking for permissions, it's going to do that automatically for you. So that's why I don't put it in the instructions or anything, because if you read what it's asking for, that's what it's asking for. Just the ability to connect to a local area network. And that's pretty much it. So, I mean, I'm always going to be there. Like I like to say, I am the moderately approachable speed quizzing host. Come on by and talk to me, and we'll get you all set up and ready to go if you're having any real sort of difficulties. Occasionally, we get a weird phone that gives a problem, which sometimes is the situation, but, you know, we try to do the best that we can with it. I think for me, folks, that's about going to do it for this week's speed quizzing smartphone trivia, the 10-second podcast. You guys go ahead, have yourself one hell of a week. Enjoy. And remember, check out all of my social media. Everything is pretty much at Bobby Roast Beef, either on Instagram or Facebook. That's where you'll be most up to date with everything there. Make sure to give this YouTube video a like and subscribe to the channel too if you have not already. I appreciate you guys. You're absolutely amazing. We'll see you for more 10-second podcast goodness coming up in about a week. Take care.